Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus and today I'm starting some sort of an experiment. I was really struggling for quite a while if I should do or should cover League of Dungeoneers on my channel or not. I watched not really a ton, but definitely some Let's Play videos around this game. I still haven't fully understood how a normal game round works, but I believe this is one of the games when you're getting into this, things are getting more and more clear. And quite a while ago I actually did ask on my channel if you would be interested to see the character creation process, and I think really a lot of comments, really appreciated, told me yes, absolutely, that's part of fun, absolutely go for it. And I think in order to keep things manageable for me, that's the point where I will start my little series here. I'm relatively certain I will be able to also cover this very first introductory scenario, First Blood or so, just completely different. You're not really rolling the threat dice and whatnot, no, you're really basically thrown into a battle against some bandits and then decide together with you if there is more interest in this game, and then we may want to consider going into an actual campaign or so. I will definitely have to continue reading, and I read the rules twice already, actually, at least for the most part, but I might still watch a video or two. And I know the designer Michael Lundstedt posted some videos on his channel too, and I think this is what I will stick to for the most part. So yeah, I think you're looking at the world, already forgot it how it's called, Lorania. Yes, this is the neoprene game mat. I think this came with one of the pledge levels. I got it actually from my friendly local game store T3 in Frankfurt. I was really surprised. Sometimes they're really good for a surprise, and when I have a chance I typically buy these kind of games. They also had a very decent price on this, so I'm really very much happy camper here. In the meantime I also got the expansion, what was it, the Lost Prophet, but we are not looking at that. So yeah, today we will form a party of 4 because I believe you always play with 4. There is a way how you can say I don't really want to whatever create or control 4 characters when you're playing this alone. So there are these companion rules, but I think we are not using those. No, we will go for an actual party of 4. I think that's definitely part of the fun. I did create my own little player sheets here. So yes, I already made some decisions in respect to the characters I want to create. So we have a female elf here. Here we have a rogue halfling kind of character, somewhat of a human, I think, warrior, and yeah, a female wizard. There's definitely some more interesting classes, but I was a little bit confused with some of the rules. There's one thing where you can definitely brew some potions, which is a cool mechanic. I think in the meantime I got it, and maybe we will have a look at that a little bit later. But those will be the 4 characters to look at. Obviously the artwork here is completely generated by the AI, Stable Diffusion in this case. I put it on the PDF. Michael was kind enough to provide the PDFs and layered PDFs, so you can exchange the artwork in this. So you can all do all kinds of stuff on these player sheets. There are double-sided, of course. I laminated them, so I will try to use dry erase pens. Let's see if this works, or if they smear off, then I will have to maybe switch back to normal pencils or so. Let's see how things go, but I'm actually already talking way too long. So I already have the names for those characters. This is the one piece I always struggle with. Honestly, I also asked the big AI to come up with some suggestions here, and this is where I will totally rely on you. I will make a proposal for these names, but if you say no, let's name him her or him this, I will gladly do that. really gladly do that if you come up with a better alternative here, that is. And I think with that being said, let's get started. I think it doesn't really matter where we will start. He's now on top here, so we might as well start with him. So let's put everything else aside for now. So here we have Cedric Mercer, a human warrior about to be. I was not going too fancy in respect to fantasy names, at least for this characters. All the others do have pretty D&D-ish kind of names. So here I wanted to tone things down a little bit. So yeah, here human level 1, we start all with 1 energy unless a class or a race tells you otherwise. I believe for humans this should be okay. Similarly for warriors, but we will get there. If we have to correct something, we can do that. Then the next thing that we will have to do is pretty much do our first dice rolls. And those are for the basic stats here. So we have strength with a damage bonus or potential damage bonus. We have a constitution with potential natural armor. We have the dexterity and the movement. I believe movement is always 4. We can put that in more or less right away. We have wisdom and mana, but mana is only being used by wizards. Obviously, we have our hit points, and then we have our one-handed or two-handed class. And based on these stats, we will then derive into the, what are the others called actually? These are the skills, exactly. So we have the combat skill, the range skill, and whatever. So they have a direct tie to, at least initially, to those basic stats here. But once we are done with the character creation, then those values are no longer connected. So in other games, if you change something in the base stat, this will typically also affect the underlying skill. In this game, not so much. So let's do some dice rolls. I will use the so-called optional variant or optional rule in this case, which allows me to, yeah, more or less roll all the stats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will roll 5 times, and then I will be allowed to assign those stats accordingly. So if I want to have slightly stronger or optimized heroes, this allows me to do just that. I really like that one. I don't really want to end up with a weak warrior in the end, right? I mean, if I roll a 10 on wisdom and a 1 on strength, it really doesn't make sense, quite honestly. So yeah, let's do that. And this is done by, I think for human, I think for every character, I believe. You basically have a base stat for this character, which for human, for example, it's strength 30. We have a constitution of 30, and then we are typically adding a 1d10 to each of those rolls. We will also start with jack of all trades. We will roll for random talent from a chosen categories. Our hit points will be 1d6 plus 7. So yeah, let's do that. Again, I will now roll 5 times, and then I will decide how to assign those. In fact, I was able to come up with 5 d10s here, and this particular die I believe I own for 25 years or so. I used it, let me lie, was it Vampire the Masquerade? Was it Star Wars? Can't really recall. Right? Definitely not the Dark Eye, because in Dark Eye you're typically rolling d6s and d20s. So we are rolling those dice now, and we are getting 2 rerolls. We can never reroll a reroll, I believe, and afterwards we can still assign 15 specialization points, pretty much boosting our basic stats here. So let's hope for the best. That's a pretty mediocre roll. So we can definitely decide if we want to re-roll a die. I will definitely want to hold on to one of my re-rolls, maybe for the health value. And I think we do that too right now. So let's also roll. I think we can roll them all, right? All stats. I think this belongs to the hit point. I will use the die I've been given by Polyhedro dice. They have these fancy looking dice. Pretty much for a rogue class here. I'm not using them as often as I would like, and I'm not getting paid to say that. But yeah, I simply wanted to give them a quick shout out here. So that's pretty much a d6, something of a potion. And we are rolling that too. So yes, that's only a 2. We may want to re-roll that die. So I think this is a pretty mediocre roll. I'm relatively happy about the 10, and I'm also happy that I decided actually to allow myself to assign those a little bit more freely. So yeah, let's do that. So we have a 10, we have a 4, we have a 5, we have a 4, we have a 3, and we have the 2 for the health. So before we do anything else, let's spend one of our 2 rerolls to reroll that flask here. And that's a 6. Okay, I take that. That was definitely worth it. In case some of these dice are misbehaving, I have this timeout chair here. But okay, for reroll, this was fairly okay, I believe. So we have, I think for human, it's 7 plus 6, exactly. So 13 health points. I think this is something we can live with for a warrior character. Nice. So we have taken care of that. Before we assign anything else, let's use the second re-roll for the 3 here. I believe, it's the lowest die, right? And this is a 6. Okay, slightly better. So far, so good, I think. And again, we still get our 15 points, so we can already strike that through. And again, we have 15 points to use. I believe we can't assign more than 10 to one single stat. Because I want him to be a fighter, I think we have to assign the 10 to his dexterity, which goes to the combat skill, or combat. I think it's a combat skill, exactly, close combat range. This is a little bit weird that they're not tying strength, for example, to the close combat and maybe then the dexterity to the range skill, but it is what it is. So in this case, really, dexterity is the key value for any fighter, basically. Anyone you want to fight, you want them to be big. Of course, let's also not forget that we have, again, class bonuses here for the warrior. The warrior is a veteran of the king's army and has more often than not seen countless battles. So we have some starting talents here, we have some perks, and we have some starting equipment. We will come to the equipment a little bit later, and with the next hero, things will get much quicker, of course. But the important thing on, let's say, this page is that we already get a plus 10 on our combat skill and a plus 5 on our ranged skill. So I think that's a fair start, which means we will start with 50 combat skill if we are not doing any, let's say, additions to our basic stats here, right? So let's finally put in some numbers here. Again, the 10 will definitely go to the dexterity, and we are also adding 5 pips, I believe, from our pool of 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means we have a dexterity of 45, right? 10, 45. Indeed. So that's really not a bad start at all. We are getting a plus 10 on our combat skill. We will do that in a second, but we of course have to assign the remaining dice. I believe I will put the 6 to our strength, but I will also add, do I want to add 10 on this? That's now the question. Or do I only want to add 4? Then we have 6 for something else. Maybe that's what I want to do. I will put 6 to the strength plus 4 from our pool of 15. So that's 10, giving us 40 points on strength. Not too terrible. We still have 6 points to assign from our dice rolls, and we have a 4, a 5, and a 4. The 5 we give to the resolve. We get a bonus because of one of his talents. So I think we are not going to give any more strength or assigning more rolls here. So this was the 5. For the wisdom, I don't really care. We will assign simply this, and I guess for the constitution we want definitely to assign some more, so we will give a 4 to the constitution. 4 is really bad for the constitution roll, right? We want him to be strong, but I don't want to assign all 6 points there. Actually, we still have left. We could still give maybe even 5 more points here, actually. No, here to the dexterity. Can do that, and maybe we should do that. So no, we will do a 50, so we will give 5 more points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 point to the constitution, giving him a 35 in total. I believe this is that. I will now more or less put all the things over here. Again, we have a combat skill of 10. I think we can even do other things afterwards with the pluses and minuses. I think for the minus skills, the one-handed class, because we have a strength of 14 means, I believe, where do I have this pesky table? Yes, it is here. So we have a class of 4 basically. No, other way around. Two-handed class. No, we have a strength of 40, which means we can wield a class 3 weapon one-handed now, basically. This is what this means. I believe that's what it means. I think it's basically we should put in a 3 here. Could be wrong though, actually. Because again, we have heavy weapons here, and again, if we have a heavy hammer, for example, with a class of 4, which is heavy, with a strength of 40, we can at least wield it, but we have to wield it two-handed way. Whatever a character below 40 strength can't even wield it. And in order to wield this one-handedly, we have to increase our strength to 50. But yeah, not sure if we will start with a heavy weapon like this anyway. Okay, I have basically put everything or transferred everything from the stats to the skills. There's one last bonus we get for anything where we do have a negative modifier, like alchemy, for example. We can now assign 10 more points to that skill. And I'm here because we have, I believe, a -10 on the heal. I may want to negate that, actually. Yeah, let's do that. So let's move this to 34. I will clean that up a little bit later. And that's basically it in respect to the normal rolls and whatnot. It really has taken a while, but again, I want to walk you through as much as possible. And again, keep me honest if I made a mistake. I can still repair stuff. Next, we will get some talents, which is disciplined for sure. We will get that talent, and then we can decide between Mighty Blow or Brave Heart. We also get a perk, which is the Heroic Force of Will, and we get some starting equipment. Maybe let's start with the perk for him. We have a human, which means we get to have the Jack of all trade anyway, so we get a lot of extra stuff now. Okay, and here we are in respect to our talents, which are basically passive abilities, and we have perks. Perks is something which you have to spend energy for. We all start with 1 energy unless you are what are these guys called? I keep forgetting them. Combat wizard or combat, I don't know, but we have typically 1 talent, 1 energy point to use. So we have disciplined. That's definitely something that goes with it, because for our military training we have a +10 resource on self, +5 on the party. I think this doesn't stack with anyone else in the party, but I will definitely take it. We only have 1 warrior in the party, so not very likely. Here I chose the Mighty Blow. I will always be able to find the weak spot at an enemy, which gives us a +1 damage when rolling for damage when we are doing melee. It's really, really great. And our current perk right now is the Heroic Force of Will, I believe. Again, we have to activate it, and this gives us a +10 to a skill or stat check for a single check, basically. So this can make or break a thing here, of course. Because we are a human, we still get to roll on a table, and there, yeah, I think we get to choose the table. And I want to keep it maybe thematic, even though here we have a human. I think because he's a warrior, we should be allowed to roll on the combat talent here, right? I mean, that's the idea. So we are rolling, I think these are 16 entries, so we have to roll a d20, and then we have to re-roll if we are rolling higher than that, and that's the 16. I believe it's really the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exactly. So we are a tunnel fighter, which may not be the worst thing in the world. Actually, hero is accustomed to fighting in tight spaces, +10 combat skill when fighting in a corridor. Nice. Next, we get a weapon, and we get to choose that. And I think we are looking at the class 3, because we are allowed to carry this one basically with 1 hand, right? So we can still go for a shield if we so desire. And the broadsword has 1d8 +2. That's not terrible. The good thing is we don't have to pay for it. We get some money now, we can buy stuff, but this was really a freebie. The problem is, because it's a used weapon, we are carrying it along for quite a while, means we have to roll for the basically, what is it? Durability, I believe. So we are rolling a d4. Again, I will use this dagger here, and really hoping for a low rating. It's a 2, which I think is pretty much okay. I think they all have a max durability of 6, so when they take their 6th hit basically, or 6 damage, then they are broken. We can repair them before that happens. But yeah, I think I take that. So here we have our broadsword. We can carry it in one hand because of the class. We carry it in our right hand. Damage 1d8 plus 2. Encumbrance 8. Encumbrance basically is a weight of this one. And here's our durability. Again, I strike through all the others, so we can take 4 more hits to this. I believe it's 6 actually, quite honestly. But if not, I will take care of it. Is there anything else? No, there is no special to the broadsword. There are armor-piercing weapons and whatnot, but I will definitely take it for sure. And I think we are still getting a leather jacket, actually. The leather jacket is also quite nice. It has a 3 defense. It has an encumbrance of 4, but it protects the torso and the arms. And again, I don't have to pay for it. And because I'm assumed I'm around for quite a while, I don't have to roll on the availability. When you are later on visiting a merchant or so, you have to roll for the availability of all of these things. In this case, of course, again, it's considered. I'm already spent some years in the wilderness and whatever in war. I was able to get my equipment together. The same is true for any weapons I'm about to buy or any items I'm about to buy now. So here's my leather jacket. Maybe I should have used a different artwork here. So because they're protecting both arms and torso, you only put certain values in one of the slots. I decided torso will be my main slot in this case. Again, makes sense, right? And yeah, again, the encumbrance is the weight and the defense is 3. That's the point which you put in there. I still have to roll for the durability, and that's also a 2. I take that for sure. 1 and 2, and I think similar to here, it's also 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Though those 2 with a normal piece of equipment will not be filled out in this case. I still get a small backpack, and the rest is something I have to buy. I believe the small backpack doesn't do anything for us right now. Typically they do come with, let's say, allow you to carry more stuff around at the cost of dexterity and whatnot. We have a small backpack, which simply means we can put stuff in it, but it definitely doesn't do anything to us in respect to carrying more stuff, for example, which we don't want. Again, this could decrease our dexterity. I don't want that. Next, we are spending some money. We have 150 gold coins. They are actually coins that come with the game. I don't have them here right now, but I think we will start relatively small with a buckler, which costs us 20, which has an encumbrance of 4. Class 1, I think class 1 plus 3 means it's basically something that we carry in each of the hands, right? That's the idea. If I would now go for a heater shield with a class 3, I think this then basically adds up from what I understand. So we can't use the heater shield together with our class 3 broadsword right now, because I think you're adding them up together, right? Otherwise it wouldn't make sense, but we should be okay with a buckler here. So here we are. Of course, we also have to roll. Oh, that's a 1. Oh, that is lovely. I certainly take that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's always the last 2, I believe, which we have to completely cross off here. Next, I decided to go with some bandages here. Here's something on the table which I don't fully understand actually, because some of these do come with 2 values for the encumbrance, 1 and 3. I suppose this has to do if you put them to a quick slot or not, but I really checked the rules. I couldn't find the explanation for them. That's really kind of a problem with this game. The rules are really all over the place. Typically everything is mentioned somewhere, but sometimes at least I'm not able to find it. It's really not a beginner's guide. That much is clear. Those old rags basically cost us 15 coins. Available guild doesn't really matter too much. They can heal basically 3 times 1d4. I think this is okay for now. And then for 100 coins more, I decided to go for the whetstone here, which allows me to repair my weapon during a short rest with 1d3 3 times, 3 uses per stone. It's 100 coins. It's quite a lot. I think I can put this into my backpack because I can put things out during a short rest. And the main difference in respect to the quick slot stuff is something I can use basically during battle. But of course there's always a chance. I have 3 quick slots here basically, and it can happen that when I'm hit at that particular location that it gets broken. But I think having bandages nearby does make sense. I still have 15 coins left, but I think let's simply put that in here. We have 0 experience points. We don't have any statuses whatsoever. I will tally up our encumbrance. We have a strength of, what was it, 40. So I think we should be still pretty much okay. I think you can go above your strength up to 10 more or so, but then you will start losing some dexterity. I think that's basically it. We have a sanity of 8. That's always the case for these new heroes. This will then, I believe, or the resolve will then ultimately tie into our party morale. We will come to that. And now I think it's really time to move on to the next character, which is Silvara Moonglade. I told you we will come to those D&D kind of names. She is our elf. Again, we will roll our dice now. We get our 2 rerolls back. I really hope I can speed things up now a little bit. And yeah, let's do that. And okay, ooh, that's not too bad. Okay, the 1-1, we might want to re-roll. The 2 we can maybe assign to the strength. Don't really care too much. And I do hope you have seen the roll. Actually, let's also roll for our hit points. And I think this is 1d6 plus 6. Okay, it's not extremely okay. That's 3. I guess we don't want to use our re-roll here. She's an elf, she can take it, but we will definitely re-roll the 1 here. So let's do that. Okay, that's 2, slightly better. Let's re-roll that 2 here on the other die. Oh. Okay, yeah, waste of re-rolls, but I will take it. Again, she has slightly different modifiers for those base stats here. So her strength is only 25 as a base, her constitution is only 20, but therefore her dexterity is way higher and her wisdom is also higher, right? And she starts the game with a perfect hearing and the night vision. Ultimately, she will become our ranger. I think this kind of makes sense for an elf, at least in my mind. So yeah, let's do some tweaking. We also get the 15 points to tweak things around. Okay, and here we are. We will have her with 28 strength, 25 con, so I did add 10 to the dexterity. Her base dexterity is 40, and I also assigned the 10 here, so that's why we have a dexterity of 64. She's a beast. Her wisdom is 43, but she also starts with 35 here. Her resolve, I believe, starts with 30. 39, the hit points are 9, and this means her one-handed, two-handed class is basically a 1. With 28, that's basically the minimum, but at least she will be able to use a bow with that. But I think that goes without saying. So next we all have 0 luck. I think only the halfling actually does start with 1 luck, which is pretty much a reroll. And yeah, then we have to more or less transfer the stats into the skills, but therefore we have to refer to the corresponding class here, the ranger. Her talents will be observant and marksman. She also starts as an elf with some traits. Again, traits are basically talents, but they are more or less you're born with those. We will have a perk, the heroic force of will, similar as the warrior. I'd certainly take that. We have starting equipment, a longbow and 10 arrows. That's not terrible. And yeah, we have some limitations. May never use armor heavier than tier 3, yeah, which definitely does make sense, right? Here we have our thing. Our combat skill is a -5, so but that's why her range skill is so much higher. I think this does make sense. Her perception is a 0. Her alchemy sucks. She dodges a little bit better, and her hit point isn't. Oh, and one thing I believe I did forget actually. Indeed, the warrior should have given us a +3 on his hit point. So he should be at 16 actually. He had a +3 there. I should not forget that. So yeah, let's transfer those stats. So here we are. We have an incredible 75 on our range skill. So yeah, she will shoot like a Legolas. That much is clear. We still get a +10 on any one of the negative ones, and the heal is a -10. And I do think for a ranger she should also be able to heal. So I think we are negating this, which ultimately means her heal is 43, and that's not too terrible. Okay, let's have a look at her traits, her talents, and her perks. I believe originally I had this in the wrong side. Not sure if I did even show this to you, but again, the trait is basically a talent. Perks is something that you have to activate. Talents and traits are something that are more or less natural to you. So we have a night vision, so she's not affected by any darkness effects, and she simply gets a +10 perception. I will definitely add that. This is huge, really, really huge. She has the perfect hearing, which is also amazing. She gets +1 initiative token when we are opening a door. So basically moving into a combat, but only if it's unlocked or if we're not breaking it down. She's the observant, -10 risk of ambush when we're taking a resting in the dungeon. I think there is usually, I have to check that. And also with this observant ability, there is no surprise tokens for enemies when they're ambushing us or in any way. This is also extremely, if someone is ambushing us, they usually get more initiative tokens into the bag, so more chances for them to act first. With the observant, we are very observative, and we'll be able to negate that effect. Cool. And then I have chosen the hunter instead of the marksman. The marksman was also pretty amazing, but the +10 on foraging seems nice because this allows us to gain rations and food basically when we are on the road. And I do think that this is important. And last but not least, as for the perk, we already have seen this. We also have the heroic force of will. We get a +2 to a single skill or stat check if we are spending our energy point for that. Nice. Okay, she starts the game with a longbow. There is a typo in the rules and in the combat table. I was really frightened for a second. These are class 6, and class 6 can be carried with a strength of 20. In the rules or in those combat tables, they show 40 of basically 4. So she wouldn't have been able with 28 strength, but this doesn't make sense. But it's a 6, so we are good. She can use the bow. We have to roll for, no, it's D1, D4 actually. I was almost rolling a D6 on that. Let's not do that. Where is my D4? It's really getting ultra messy here. So yeah, I can't find it, so I will have to use my normal D4. That is fine as well, and that's a 1. I certainly take that. Cool stuff. So she has taken good care of her bow. It seems she also has 10 arrows, which I will put into her quiver, which is one of her quick spaces. Then I also decided to spend 70 on a short sword, which we will put into her quick slot 2. So she already has an encumbrance of 17 out of her 28. So we have to be a little bit careful here. But the arrows don't weigh anything, it seems. No, but it costs us 70. So we have still 80 left. And again, in order to take it out of a quick slot, we have to spend, I believe, 1 action point. We typically have 2. Let's roll for the, okay, that's 2. That's still fine, I believe. We can live with that. So I think overall we were quite all right actually with those durability rolls. This will change with the other remaining 2 characters here. I think she doesn't have any armor though, but I don't really want her to be out there all that much actually. I mean, she's our ranged fighter, and maybe we should actually buy more arrows. We can only have 10 arrows in our quiver, which means everything else has to go into our backpack anyway. But I think we should go for some. The 5 costs us 5. They don't weigh anything. Let's definitely buy some arrows. Like the warrior, she also starts with a small backpack here, so 20 costs us 20. So basically 5 arrows cost us 5 coins, so basically times 4. So we are down to 60. And again, this doesn't cost us anything. And I'm also considering to give her some bandages, and I believe she will go for linen bandages. Yeah, and we put this also in her quick slot. Bandages 1d8, I believe. Yes, indeed. This costs us 25 more. I think it only has 1. Here the encumbrance is 3 or 1. Again, I don't really know. I think when she carries it here, it's a 3. I will go for the higher number. And then we still have 35 coins left, and I think I want to keep those. Next, we have Talindra Niravel, the human wizard. So, okay, I shouldn't roll the d4 in this case. So we'll roll our 5 dice for our stats. Again, I will go through. I really have to speed things up now. This has taken me quite a while. Okay, that is really not terrible at all. Wow. We still have 2 rerolls. Again, we are rolling our 1d6 for her health. That's a 6 as well. So yeah, I think we will simply use 1 to reroll the 3 maybe, just to see what happens when she's... Oh, it's a 9. Oh, wow, she is a beast. That is really great. I barely have to use. Of course, I will go for wisdom for her, because this basically will determine how much mana she will have for her spells. Okay, here we are, and I believe I should have done this a little bit differently here. I think I simply should have added the first class value here. She has a 37, which is close to class 4, but I will now keep it consistent to the other ones. So I will put in the class for the one-handed. Maybe that's even right. I don't know. It's 2 for her, so she can carry the short sword with one hand, whereas Silvara isn't able to do that. She only has a strength of 28, right? And with 28, yeah, she can barely hold it in basically 2 hands. That's the problem. Okay, but that's that. Again, we have a high wisdom for her, obviously. So I added the 10 here from the bonus, and I added 5 to the dexterity. So overall, she is also not terrible, quite honestly. And the hit points of 13, that is huge, obviously. And now, of course, we have to look at the stats for the wizard. So again, combat skill is -5, range skill is -10, dodge, and so on. But of course, her arcane arts is a +10. And this is what matters when you are casting spells. And we will be able to pick 3 spells from level 1 magic. We will come to that in a second. Really, really cool. So that's that. We can't use any armor heavier than tier 2. Also kind of makes sense. And she has a small backpack and her staff. Okay, here we are. We still get the 10 bonus points on a negative trait, and thematically I'm really thinking about bumping. Here's a -20 on alchemy. Maybe thematically let's increase that to 34 instead of 24. Maybe we can do some alchemy sooner or later. Cool. So we get our spells, we get our staff. Let's do the staff first. This should be quick. Okay, here we are. So this is the staff. She can use it basically with one hand. So that's more a hanbo than a bow. 1d8, it's defensive, the +10 parry, but it only can take 4 points of durability. But I believe even if you would now roll, and I have to do that now, it's only 1. Okay, that's fine. But if we would have now, I think, rolled a 4, we would still be allowed to have 1 more left, basically. That's my understanding. So 1, 2, 3, 4, everything else will be unavailable. So she may have to buy stuff every now and then. But yeah, the +10 parry isn't terrible, obviously. She does start the game with a heroic force of will. We already know this one. This is her perk. She doesn't get any starting talents from her class, but I believe she gets a trait, yeah, from her human race, basically, jack of all trades. So we have to roll for that. We come to that in a second. We still get a second perk though, which is 1 arcane perk of choice. And here I'm really inclined to go for the cheap one, the inner power. The wizard increases the power of the magic missiles, causing an extra 1d6 damage. Must be declared before the spell is cast. I mean, it's still an energy point that we have to spend, but honestly, having this 1 extra power in her, yeah, let's do that. So here we have it, the inner strength. We have to announce it before we roll. Kind of makes sense. And again, we have to spend the energy point for that. And then we get a random roll, and I think thematically we will go for the magic talents. Magic talents are exclusive to wizard. We get to choose one. That's the jack of all trade. I could really play it thematically and go for a common trait. Maybe we should do that. No, we will roll here. I think we have to roll a d20 here as well. I think there are 13 or so. So where do we do that? So let's pan over here a little bit. I think you can see that. That's 20. We have to re-roll that. That's 13. Again, the last one in line. That's another very, very cool one. The thrifty, also so cool. The wizard requires 2 less mana on every spell cast. So basically discount spells. I totally love that. So here we are, thrifty, -2 mana for all spells. Cool. And then speaking about spells, we still do get those. In total, 3 level 1 spells. And I think we will definitely go for the flare because it's a magic missile. We just got the perk for that. So that's a flare. We will also go for the light healing, I suppose, which is a restoration spell. So we can heal our comrade. And then for the third one, not so sure. Maybe the protective shield here. The caster summons a translucent sphere of blue light around themselves themselves or the target, protecting it from physical harm. The shield absorbs 1 point of damage per caster level to a maximum of 3. Yeah, we can even cast it twice. The fake death is really not so cool. Yeah, we can appear dead. I don't like this one. The hand of death is also another one where the caster touches the animal and causes them 1d10 hit points. That's also not bad actually. But no, also slip maybe causes the target to slip and fall. This could be nice actually. I think we will go for slip, because if we see a powerful enemy, we can make it fall down. Yes, so it will be flare, it will be the light healing, and it will be the slip. So here we are. I really quite like that. I think this is something we can work with. And honestly, for some of these spells, I believe there are cards for the enemies. I really need to check if there are all cards available for all the spells, because for these kind of things, I would rather have a card in front of me. I will forget a lot of stuff here, obviously. Then I think we can go for the equipment. I given her a padded vest, which cost her 60. We have to roll for that, of course. Let's do that. Okay, that's 3. That's not so pretty. Again, these two, I believe, are washed away. And I also bought her a parchment, which we need to create scrolls in her small backpack. Yeah, exactly. I'm still debating if I should give her a dagger. I think I will, because if that staff really breaks, I think she should carry a dagger for 10. So that leaves her with 30. And one thing I almost forgot actually was that we need to buy rations. But rations is something that we can buy for 5 coins each. So I think everyone should carry some rations with them actually. We will travel sooner or later, and I think this is important. So let me fill in the stuff for the dagger, but let's roll for the... Oh, that's 4. Okay, she's not so lucky, but I told you this was going to happen. 2, 3, 4, 2, 5, 6. So these are gone basically. Okay, 2 more, and then this basically 1 more, and with the next one I believe it's already broken actually. So again, I will fill that in. She can easily carry it in one hand or wield it in one hand. Simply 1d6 damage, and yeah, and she can dual wield it, which means if you have the ability, then you get a damage bonus for that. Okay, and last but not least, it's Finnick Shadowfoot, a halfling. Again, I think they start with 1 luck, if I recall that correctly. I haven't fully decided yet if I will go rogue or if I will go thief. Thematically, thief would make sense, at least when you think about The Hobbit, the original book that is. But let's see about that. First of all, let's roll those. Of course, their strength will be somewhat limited because they're a halfling. But yeah, let's simply see what we roll. We still get our 2 rerolls. Okay, that's also not terrible at all. And let's roll for the health. I think it's a d6 as well, right? And okay, that's only 1. So I will definitely use one of these to re-roll that one here. And that's a 5. I certainly take that. And I always think I don't want to re-roll any one of those. It can only get worse. I have the feeling at least. Okay, I have also assigned the bonus points here, so plus 10 to dexterity, plus 5 to wisdom, because I think this does make sense for a thief in my mind. And yeah, we also get the plus 5 per resolve from the elf, I believe I put it in here. He's pretty weak, but yeah, it's a halfling. It does make sense. We are not carrying a barbarian hammer or so around with us. And again, ultimately, I went with a thief here. So we get some talents, we have some perks. I think, yeah, we have the lucky trait, which means we are getting 1 luck at the start of the game. We can't use longbows or elven bows, also makes sense. And we get to buy cooking gear for 50 credits. Let's see about that. It's a halfling, but we want to play them somewhat thematically. And I already hated that we don't have any bards. Not sure if these are part of the expansion though. Okay, so I will have to make some choices in here. We have a special ability at the thief. That's cool. Whenever it's time to draw a treasure card, a thief may always draw 2 cards and choose which one to keep. Okay, nice. Don't understand why this is not a trait or a talent, for example. Weird. Then we still get our plus 10 bump actually on a negative, and the combat skill is actually a minus 5. So we could also bring it to 65 actually. He's really cool. I like the thief actually. Let's do that. I mean, even though he's not carrying heavy weapons, he can still, yeah, attack. Love it. Okay, here are his talents, traits, and perks. We already know the heroic force of will. I believe everyone has that. Okay, we know lucky. They start with 1 luck. They have the evaluates talent, which is not so great. Successful barter rolls give you basically 15% discount or increased price instead of 10. Nice, but okay. And the special skill we already know, draw 2 treasures and choose 1. We will start with the small backpack, a dagger, a rope, and 10 lockpicks. So here is the dagger. Let's roll for its durability. That's a 1. I certainly take that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I should forget, I should remember basically. The last 4 are crossed out. We still get our rope, our lockpicks, and we have the small backpack. Okay, here we are. We have the lockpicks. I've also bought a leather vest and the cooking gear for 50, so he has 20 coins left. Again, for those coins, we will most certainly go for some rations before we get started. I have to roll for the leather vest. That's only a 1. Okay, I take that. Here I know it's 2. Which I have to completely cross off. I believe there are magical items or more powerful items out there which might have more than the standard 6 durability. Keep me honest here. But I think that's basically it. One last thing that we have to do is pretty much calculate the party morale, which is, I think, then something that's covered on the party sheet here. Here we also have the heroes where we can quick track during a battle how much energy they have. This is really actually a dry erase board which we can use. We can put in some weapons, a light source, a dodge. Maybe I should go for, that's a fair point. Maybe I need a torch or so. Let me think about getting a torch. Maybe also especially for Finnick here. But that's something I guess we can then do once we are embarked into our first stamina. Let me check what these torches cost. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The light projected by a torch helps strengthen the resolve of your party. See separate note on torch. I think they can go out and whatnot. So yes, we will definitely give him a torch. We will also add it to one of his quick slots. Then he only has 5 money left, and I think with 5 we can still get 1 more ration actually. But he already invested quite heavily into the party with his cooking gear. So maybe we will force the others to actually buy the rations or the provisions. Okay, and here we actually are. These are the standees that come with the game. I really don't have a good selection of miniatures for these kind of games. Even though when I did play, get my fair share of RPG back in the day, I typically used them pretty pen and paper. I'm not really using any miniatures there. A little bit later I also got some standees for some of the stuff. In some combat situations it does help. But yeah, I'm totally fine with these standees here. And the game comes with an immense amount of different standees for the heroes, for companions, for enemies. It's breathtaking how many those are. And yeah, let me know what you think. Again, I will still, before we embark, I will do some adjustments in respect to our provisions, our rations, so that we can get started. Again, the first adventure will be introductory one, a simple battle to see how things go. I have no clue how well these guys will do actually. And yeah, definitely let me know what you think about this little project here. I really still haven't figured out how long I will do this, quite honestly. And this character creation process, the recording of it, the reading, the back and forth already did take me quite a while, hours actually. I really hope that the edited video won't be that long actually. I will really try to. Yeah, speed things up wherever I can. So yeah, again, let me know what you think. And before I forget, huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members. You guys are truly amazing. Can't tell you how much I appreciate all your support. And yeah, with that being said, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And until then, bye bye.